I will always commute by bike. No matter the weather, conditions, length of my journey, I will always make up all or part of my route by bicycle. There are plenty of reasons why this is the case, but for me, the number one is speed. No matter what, within reason, a bike is always going to be the fastest thing to get you to your destination. Now, of course, a car, a train, a bus all travels at a higher speed. But I still believe that using a bicycle will get you to your destination quicker. The key, though, to achieve this is setup, preparation, and perhaps a bit of experience. So I'm going to share with you my own tips on how to achieve some form of commuting wizardry and why it is always worth it to ride to work. First up, let's talk bike and tech. This is my Orbea Terra. It's the bike that I use actually to ride to work, as well as have a lot of fun with at the weekend on some of the gravel trails nearby to here. You want a practical bike to commute with, so ideally mud guarded up, potentially some pannier racks or some bike packing bags in order to carry extra stuff, or if you're able to, just a rucksack will suffice. But you do want this to be the sort of bike that you can wheel in and out with minimal work. It's the sort of thing that will stand up to hours and hours of riding and not complain. It doesn't have to be top spec. Of course, you can make it that if you want to, but above all, it needs to be functional, practical, robust. This, for me, is speed. Minimal faff, minimal maintenance, and minimal misfires. Of course, a car is faster, but when faced with this, is it really? Now, traffic filtering or lane splitting is legal in most countries, involving skipping past any sort of traffic or congestion by filtering on the outside of traffic, being mindful of what's ahead and always overtaking at a slower speed. Now, this means that when you are commuting, you're going to skip all the congestion and traffic that you'd normally encounter when you're driving, meaning you get places a lot quicker. And let's face it, commuting is often done in cities where traffic is high. And when you take all that into account, it does mean that for me, the bike is the fastest mode of transport when you take into account parking, stopping your journey, and getting to where you need to be after you've finished your journey. This is backed up by data too. So a study by data company Inrix actually found that 6 cities in the UK, when a vehicle travelled in their last mile, their speed was 10 miles per hour or less. And the average speed of a bicycle was 9.6 miles per hour. Now, minimal change between the two there, but when you take into account how long it takes to park, to navigate from where you want to go to where you actually want to be when you're travelling in a city, you can see why the bike is pretty fast. And you know what? People are catching on. There's been a 26% increase in the number of daily cycling journeys in the UK's capital in the last 5 years. So imagine how much slower driving would be without all those people riding bikes. Bikes represent 40% of non-pedestrianised travel in the UK's capital, and that, alongside low emission zones, according to government data, has resulted in a big drop in nitrous oxide emissions. It's this argument that always seems to be forgotten when it comes to any form of anti-cycling rhetoric in cities. So, recent analysis by the World Health Organization's Cancer Agency actually found that 1,100 people per year are developing lung cancer, the most prevalent form of it, due to air pollution. And that's a disease which is associated with smoking. It's here where the stats are pretty stark. So let's take the state of California as an example. The transportation sector accounts for 80% of harmful nitrous oxide pollutants. We all know that we need to try and find greener ways to travel, but we need to do this for the health of ourselves as well as the health of the world. And riding a bike is a key way to do this. Plenty of motivation to ride to work so far then. But aside from all of that, it's also really good for you. Staying active and riding your bike, good for your health. We all know this, and there is plenty of data and research to show this too. But I think some of the really key points to illustrate this: 50% lower risk of depression and up to 40% lower risk of developing cardiovascular disease. riding your bike is a really bloody good thing. But at the same time, from my own perspective, as an ex-professional cyclist, I can sometimes feel that if I'm not fully kitted up, ready to ride hard, then what's the point? What's the physical benefit? But this isn't true. I know I'm preaching to the converted here, but still, coming from my own perspective as an ex-professional cyclist, I can sometimes find myself thinking, if I'm just doing a low-intensity short ride, what's the point? Am I getting any sort of physical benefit? If I'm not fully kitted up and ready to ride hard, why bother? But short rides make a huge difference, boosting your mood and your metabolism for hours to come, as well as your all-round health. Essentially, what you need to think is all those short commutes do add up and make a big difference, and they are 100% worth it. This study too actually shows that even if you're riding an e-bike, that contributes to improved health benefits too. The truth is, I just hate driving. I hate sitting down. I hate feeling like I'm sitting in a box, and I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And for me, the bike is my escape, my rope ladder out of that to be able to still do what I love and actually get places. But at the same time, I know that driving is a necessity for many people. It's a necessity for me and my family. We've got a young family, and there's not every single journey that can be completed by bike. We simply wouldn't survive without a car. Look, I'm not saying everyone should sell their car and only ride a bike. That's definitely not my point. And it's not my point to try and stand here and say that I hate drivers as much as I hate driving myself. Cars, they serve a purpose. They're a necessity for me too. But what I am trying to say is that if we can encourage more people to ride a bike for more of their journeys, it's going to be a positive for everyone. And this is why cycling infrastructure is so important, because it encourages more people onto two wheels. It makes it safer, easier, and more convenient to travel on a bike. Look, here in Britain, the average person spends 597 hours in their car on day-to-day journeys per year. And finding any way to bring that number down is a positive for all. And if it means that we get more people out of their car and onto their bike, reducing that number and making journeys in a car quicker and easier, then it's a win-win. And that is why I always make every effort to commute by bike whenever I can. Even those smaller journeys, for me, always add up to being a positive impact on my day. And I feel very lucky to be able to ride my bike in this way and have that to look forward to at the end of the working day. And I really hope that this video has allowed you to maybe be inspired to think that you can do the same. And if you are just starting to use your bike as a mode of transport, what I would say is start off small. Don't be over ambitious. Take it easy. Perhaps try just one day a week riding to and from work. Find your feet and build up from there. You don't have to ride fast. You don't have to ride slow. Just ride at a pace that's natural to you. And let us know in the comment section down below if you manage to ride to work. How far do you ride? How often do you ride to work? And also, have you recently made the switch to pedal power? And if you've got any tips to share, do leave them in the comments section and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I guess I better get to work on my bike. See you on the next one.